Hey guys, it's Kay from KS Anonymous, and I am back today with another episode of r/Am I the A-hole or r/AITA. AITA for refusing to make my son apologize to my mother-in-law's goddaughter and undermining my husband's parenting. My mother-in-law's goddaughter, Amy, is not a nice person, but I'm the only one who seems to see it. So when I walked in on my 4-year-old son close to tears and being pressured by his dad to apologize to her for being rude, I immediately intervened. My son insisted Amy had said something mean to him, but she tried to make it look like my son misunderstood and was overreacting. From past experience, I knew she was lying. My husband kept insisting my son needed to apologize. Instead, I told my son I believed him and that he didn't need to apologize. My son said, "But Daddy said I have to." And I replied to tell him that he still didn't have to. I asked him to go pick a book for bedtime, even though my husband kept protesting and insisting he couldn't leave until he said sorry. After we put our son to bed, my husband had a huge argument with me. He kept saying I was undermining his parenting and teaching our son that he could get away with not listening to his dad. He insisted our son was being rude and that was unacceptable, and that I was blinded by my dislike of Amy. I replied by telling him that he was the blind one. He also blamed me for our son asking if his dad didn't love him anymore. AITA? Edit. Amy is 32. She told my son his dad would send him and me far away soon because he was annoying. My husband wasn't there when this happened. He interrupted them earlier while they were working to ask his dad to play with him, and Amy was upset that my husband actually did. I believe him because when we first got married, she would say similar things to me. My son yelled that she was a liar, which is what my husband thought was rude. Yeah, I don't think you're the a-hole at all on this one. It's really annoying when you can see a certain side of someone that they hide away around particular individuals, because then you start seeming like you have this vendetta or something, even though you're the only one calling out the absolute bullcrap. And what's really annoying is then that person gets really snide a lot of times too, because they know that they can just keep aggravating you and nothing you say will matter because they have managed to put on their act well enough, and then you just keep digging yourself a bigger hole while you try to explain what's going on. It's really messed up. And good for you for calling her out and believing your son. And why wouldn't the dad be why are you calling her a liar? No, that wasn't nice, I guess, but why? Why are you calling her a liar? Oh, well then don't say that to my kid. Why did it immediately go to you can't say things? We're dealing with children and apparently a full-grown adult who needs to really not be talking to children, apparently. AITA for not letting my ex-husband have my deceased daughter's ashes. I'm an Indian woman who came to the United States on a student's visa and met my ex-husband, Dean. My family wasn't happy about the relationship, but eventually relented when they realized we were serious about each other. I got pregnant a few months into our marriage and gave birth to our daughter, Asha. After I gave birth, I developed PPD, and as a result, our marriage suffered and never really recovered. I was on antidepressants. 2 years after her birth, my ex-husband got close to his coworker, Laura, and they began a 2-year torrid affair. When he eventually got caught, he apologized for hurting my feelings, but claimed he was in love with Laura. We divorced, and I was left in the US all alone without any emotional or family support. The divorce happened in 2017. We shared 50-50 custody of Asha. In February of 2020, I decided to visit my family in India as my extended family had never met my daughter. The original plan was to stay in India for 3 months, but the plans changed as the world got locked down. One day, my daughter complained of uneasiness and stomach pain after she had her usual lunch. I gave her a digestive enzyme and asked her to rest. When I went to check in on her an hour later, she was gone. I still don't know what happened that day, but after that moment, everything was a blur. My sister informed my ex-husband because borders were shut, he couldn't come to India for the rituals. I cremated my girl according to Hindu rituals and later immersed her ashes in the Ganges, as per our customs. I have refused to take any calls from ex in the past 1 year. I am still dealing with grief. My ex has reached out to me and wants my address to get some of her ashes. I let my sister convey to him that the ashes have been disposed of as per customs. He is now furious and wants me to come back to the United States and give him some of her toys. I have planned on never going back. He already has some of her clothes and toys. I refuse to directly talk to him. That part of my life is over and done. AITA. To answer a few questions. 1. We were told she suffered a cardiac arrest. She was already dead when she was brought to the nearest hospital. My ex was sent all the details and the hospital documents. 2. He and his family were sent the Zoom link for the funeral. 3. He already has half of her belongings. 4. I didn't keep her ashes. It was disposed of the day after cremation in the Ganges as per Hindu religious beliefs. 5. He was informed of all the rituals that were going to take place beforehand. He probably didn't understand them. 6. No, I wasn't in contact with him. My family was. 7. The reason he had no problem with me taking Asha to India was because in 2019 he took her to Russia to meet his grandparents. 8. When we left for India, it was early February. We didn't realize COVID was going to be a global pandemic. 9. My ex's heritage is Russian Jewish. He didn't follow his religion when we were married, and I raised her Hindu. I realize that people believe I'm the a-hole. I understand and accept the judgment. I didn't ask for advice, and no, I'm not going to talk to him ever again. We are done. He can hate me. I don't care. Since he didn't get to be with her in her last days, I will be sending him a pair of her shoes that she wore during her India visit. My family will contact him regarding the same. Me not talking to him personally is nothing out of the normal. Even when Asha was alive, I kept communication to what the court stipulated. No chit-chat, no weather talk. It was just business. We communicated via email. I have no reason to talk to him now. People can call this being vindictive. I call this my boundary. So I can really understand why she wouldn't want to talk to him after like what he did and stuff. However, that's also his child. Like if it were a reverse situation, right? And like he had been in Russia and all of a sudden his family contacts her and is like, BT dubs, your child died, and we're gonna do this ritual, and here's a Zoom link, since obviously the borders are closed. The end. You would probably be rather upset and taken aback, and you would probably demand a phone call, even though normally you're on only whatever is stipulated by the courts. Like, if you think about it the other way around, then you start to realize, like, maybe it's more than setting a boundary. Like, do you not understand? Like, that's still his child. Like, he's grieving too. It doesn't mean you have to, like, sit there and listen to him talk about stuff or whatever that isn't relevant. It's not like if he were to start trying to talk about your past or whatever, like, you don't have to sit through that. But just as much as it's scary and unknown, like how she suddenly had a cardiac arrest, for you, like, you were there and it was still so unknown. Like, he wasn't. And yeah, so kind of, yeah, you're kind of being an a-hole here, which is really weird to say to somebody who just lost their kid. So I don't know. AITA for forcing my girlfriend to a lunch and then getting mad at how she acted. I've been dating my girlfriend for 2 years and it's been great. She's a perfect match for me and I love spending time with her. My girlfriend is also a die-hard Steelers fan, American football team, and their home opener was last Sunday. This is something she's been looking forward to since January. However, last Sunday was also a lunch being held in my honor via my company for a promotion that I had received. This is a promotion I had been attempting to receive for a while and was so happy that I finally got it. I invited my girlfriend to the lunch, but there was just one issue. The lunch fell during the Steelers game. This led to a huge argument between my girlfriend and I, where I begged her to come to the lunch, and she said that we would go out to celebrate some other time, but the Steelers game meant a lot to her. Eventually, I was finally able to convince her to come to the lunch. When we got to the lunch, my girlfriend said hi to all of my colleagues and then disappeared. It had been an hour since I'd seen her, so I went looking for her and found her in a room by herself, watching the Steelers game. This made me angry, but she wasn't even making an effort to act like she cared and instead just left. This led to another argument when we got home. I told my friend what happened, and he said I was the unreasonable one. He said I should have just let her stay home and watch the game, and then me and her could have gone out to celebrate another time like she suggested. He said that I could have compromised, but instead made the situation all about me. So Reddit, AITA. So, but the situation kind of was all about you, though. Like, it was a day that your company, in some way, I don't understand the setup for this, if this was at someone's house or like they were at a location that would have a separate room with a TV. I don't know how this works. But that it's I understand like people have like super important things to them and stuff, but like, and I know like you wouldn't want the score and stuff like ruined by other people, but like literally you could just avoid social media until you watched it, like the recording of it, and watch it live to you and then like talk with other people. And I think it would be pretty much the same. Like, I know some people are really, really into it and think that like things they do during the live telecast like matter, but it's kind of like a once in a whatever amount of time thing for this guy. It's kind of gross that you would be that and then like go and then not even attend the party. Like, if you're gonna go, attend the party. If you're not, then just don't. Like, that just makes it worse. AITA for telling my in-laws exactly where my husband was when I was in labor. I went through an exhausting period when I was nearing my due date. I was experiencing discomfort and wanted my husband by my side when I go into labor, but he'd go out every night to hang out at his friend's place and watch football games. I suggested that he play or watch games at home just in case, but he was having none of it and said he had to attend a game night at his brother and friend's place along with his buddies. He said they had certain, how can I describe it, rituals when watching a game, and he can't enjoy doing it at home or anywhere else. The night of our son's birth, my water broke while my husband was at his buddy's place watching a game. I called him and told him to get home and take me to the hospital. He said he was coming, but he didn't. I ended up calling my sister. She lives nearby, and she took me to the hospital. My husband showed up 2 hours later after he kept calling, asking if I was still in labor and that he was almost done watching the game. He was able to make it on time for our son's birth, but I was furious with him, mad and disappointed. He apologized profoundly, and he has been working on regaining my trust and respect for him after what he's done. He's otherwise very supportive and involved in our son's care. Last night, I was at my in-laws' house for dinner, and we were talking about my son's birth date. My husband suddenly started recalling what happened that night and basically started lying about driving me to the hospital, waiting and feeling stressed out and standing on his feet for so long without food or even water. I was confused. I said, no, none of this was true. None of this happened. In fact, he was watching a game when I went into labor, and I wanted him to drive me to the hospital, but didn't show up till 2 hours later. My mother-in-law, who takes no crap from anybody and whom everyone fears, lost it on him, yelling, asking him if that was true, and he kept quiet. She started berating him left and right, telling him to sit down and shut up when he stood up to argue, then told him to stand up when he was sitting arguing. Everyone was laughing at how she basically treated him as if he was a boy in trouble. She kept saying, "Shame, shame, shame on you. This is not how I raised my children to treat their wives. Jay, you are a disgrace, and I am disappointed because of what I heard about you. He literally swallowed every bit of his mother's berating and didn't say anything till we got home, where he went nuts, saying I made him look neglectful, a bad husband and father, by telling the family about where he was, and said I shouldn't have said anything, but I argued it wasn't okay for him to lie and play hero in front of his parents. He said I just caused a rift between him and his family and asked if I was happy now. AITA, should I not have said anything? Edit to say that he's done similar things in the past, since he's a major enthusiast of football and hockey, but I didn't expect it to get to that. Also, this is not our first baby together. We have a 4-year-old son. Yeah, no, this one I'm not even on the fence about. It's not even slightly. It's your child's birth. And you're like, are you still in labor? Like, the game's almost over, but like, if it's gonna be a while, I'm gonna finish it here. Like, really, dude? Are you kidding me? Oh, No, he absolutely deserved to be called out for that. And if he wants to throw a fit, that's on him for 1, lying, and 2, being exactly where you said he was. AITA for making my brother's girlfriend mow my lawn. I own a 3-bedroom home with a front and a backyard. A couple months ago, my brother and his girlfriend were having some financial problems and asked me if they could live with me for a few months while they save up for enough to pay first and last month's rent plus security deposit to get their own place again. I was definitely hesitant, but they promised me they would do all chores, including housework, laundry, and yard work, including mowing the lawn. I figured a couple of months of not doing chores would be worth it, especially to get out of the yard work and mowing the lawn for the summer. For the most part, it's been okay. They're not quite as diligent as I'd like them to be, but at least the place doesn't get filthy and the lawn gets mowed weekly. Well, last week, my brother Jake sprained his ankle playing basketball and is going to be on crutches for a few weeks. Grass grows fast this time of year, so I told his girlfriend that I guess since he can't do it, it's now her job. She flipped out on me and said I'm being a jerk and that mowing the lawn is clearly a guy's job, so I should either do it myself or hire someone to for a few weeks. I told her the agreed upon setup was that they would do all these chores, and if he can't, that means it's on her if they want to continue living here free. She huffed and puffed, but eventually did it. Not the best job, but enough. Well, she's been having an attitude lately, which I don't mind since I work 50 hours a week and hope it'll motivate them to move sooner than later. But yesterday my brother told me it feels like I'm kicking them while he's down. I feel like we're all adults, and we had an agreed upon arrangement, but he was insistent that I was being an a-hole. Would like some neutral party thoughts here. To address common questions, 1, they are not doing full-time maid work, just the same types of chores they do for themselves if they had their own place, i.e. sink is full, do the dishes, counters are dirty, clean them, keep the bathroom in shape, etc. I'm not a messy person, so for the most part, they're mostly just cleaning up after themselves. Jake is still able to do light chores with a sprained ankle, albeit slower. 2, my neighborhood tickets you if the lawn gets to a certain point that takes just about a week without being mowed in the summer to get to that length. 3, the lawnmower is not powered by man parts. Can't believe I actually wrote that. They are 24 and 23 years old. Okay, so honestly, I'm a little conflicted because yes, they had an agreement and they are living there rent-free, other than keeping up with stuff and mowing the lawn, which, if they're working, still can be kind of stressful. I don't know. I would see why she would be mad though, because not only is her boyfriend in an ill state, like he's probably gonna need extra care, probably gonna be extra needy. That's just how people are, right? When they're injured, like, well, some people are, I guess. And then like having the added stress of that and living with people that you might not necessarily want to live with, and then all of a sudden being looked at and being told, hey, you do all these things because since he can't do it, you get to do all of it. Like, I don't know, it just didn't seem that big of a deal for you to do, but then again, I get why, if that's the case, you would feel the same about the girlfriend. So yeah, I'm gonna leave this one up to the commenters. Y'all tell me, is this person being an a-hole or nah? Anyway, that is going to wrap up today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead and drop a like and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And again, make the decision for me if you would on that last one. Really quickly, I'd like to thank my patrons. Up on the screen, you should see my face palmers and my crazy case. Thank you all so much for supporting me in the way that you do. If you are interested in becoming a patron, checking out the original posts from today's video, or sending me an email for possible inclusion in a future video, all of that information is in the description box, so be sure to check it out. And I'll talk to you in my next video. Bye!